This week on Roommates, we talking about the Buckeyes noon kickoff against Oregon.
And which coaches and position groups are going to be under the most pressure to perform this 2021 season?
Join us as we talk about these crazy Buckeye things. Go Bucks. Welcome back to another episode of Roommates. It's your boy Tyvis Powell and my main man Cardale Jones. Cardale, what's going on, bro? I hear you on the weight diet type thing, bro. Let the world tell them about it.
Man, I wouldn't call it a weight diet.
I mean, listen, I understand. Look, the summer coming up. You got to get ready to take your shirt off, baby. Come on, go ahead. Tell them what you got. What you got going on?
Just a little 5-day fasting to get my body back into better eating habits, eliminate some of the cravings. Because man, how the late night is around campus. You got Kings, you got Roosters, you got Wings Over, you got insomnia cookies. I'm trying to get that.
Hey, hold on now. You done brought up something now. What you know about some insomnia cookies now? Hold on now.
Yeah, I'm trying to get those cravings out of me right now. But,
so you ain't on the po no more. No,
I'm trying to.
Yo, po, come on, man. I'm gonna eat it with. Hey, Cardale, bro, I was sitting here thinking about the other day. But remember we did that. We raced to see who can finish that Chipotle and we about passed out.
Man, we almost died doing that, man. God, bring up some good times when we was freaking roommates. Pretty much all our college careers, definitely on campus and in dorms and stuff like that. But enough of that, man. Let's jump into some Ohio State football, man. The big news this upcoming week, well, this past week has been the Times came out for some of these games, and clearly the biggest one that everyone got circled, the first game of the season versus Oregon, a noon kickoff. Fox is known for messing up some freaking kickoffs, some big games. Come on, man. Oregon, Ohio State, noon. Are you kidding?
Look, hold on now. First of all, Ohio State got the advantage. I mean, they coming to us, right?
Yeah.
Right, so that's 9 o'clock to them. No,
I want the prime time lights,
I feel it.
Everybody watching. But I mean, it is a great way to start the season off, though. I mean, early, and but I still like the prime time games. I mean, we played in so many noon games, 3:30, and then of course some night games. Looking back at some of the games we played in, what was your favorite atmosphere when it came to time?
Okay, so honestly, I didn't mind the noon games at all because I mean, yeah, we got up at 6, but I mean, I'm an early riser anyways. So like the 6 o'clock didn't bother me. But we got to play the game. We whooped whoever we was playing, and then we still had the rest of the day to do, to hang out. After the night games, now don't get me wrong, the atmosphere of the night games is crazy. Like it's some of the best stuff. But then you got to wait around all day, and I just be like anxious to go. So like for the noon games, it's like you get up. Let's go. Like you ain't got really time to think about nothing. We get straight to it.
And for sure.
So that I didn't mind noon games. I mean, I'm pretty sure they might feel the same way. Like they just let's get to it. You ain't got to wait around. Ain't no time to waste. Nothing. Let's go.
Yeah, for sure. No, my favorite games was definitely, ironically, was noon or 3:30, just because most likely 3:30. Because I mean, noon 3:30 you get to sleep in a little bit, but the night games, like you said, yeah, you love the atmosphere, but just the routine of waking up. And the build up to getting to that 8 o'clock kickoff,
it's all day. You had to sit up in the room all day. Yeah, we had so many extra meetings. Like with them noon games, it ain't no extra meeting. Like you either got it by
now. Let's get this thing started. But no, for sure, for me, like you said before, but the 3:30 games was great because you got a routine and it happens pretty fast, and you probably walking over to the stadium for the Blackwell or if it's an away game about you probably pulling up about noon, probably 1 at the latest, and you starting the routine as you're getting ready for the game. And after the game, you got a almost 4-hour game. You got time to really decompress, hang out, go back, relax, and then whatever you guys are going to do that night, hang out with your boys. And you know how me and you were, we always had guys over because we had both of the freaking game assistants at the time. So It was always a great time. And then after, like you said before, after, night games, 8 o'clock games,
it'd be like
back to your place.
It's like 1 in the clock.
It's like 1 in the morning. There's no real time to hang out with family to see them and things like that. So I will definitely have to pick my favorite kickoff when we were in school was 3:30. But golly, man, it's always tough for a West Coast team to come all the way across country and play a noon game or a really early game like this, just because of the time difference.
Yeah, like I said, we gonna have an advantage point that 9 a.m. I mean, I'm pretty sure, like as a coaching staff, they definitely gonna make them practice early. Like if it can happen, I don't know, it might interfere with their college schedules, but if they can, I'm sure they're gonna try to find a way to, at least let them see what it's like to play that early.
Yeah, it's tough though, but because I remember playing with LA Chargers and flying all the way across country to play the New England Patriots for a 1 o'clock playoff game. And just thinking about the time difference and things like that. And at that time, I think that the stats still hold true. No West Coast team have ever in the playoffs went to play a 1 o'clock game on the East Coast and won. And you can say a lot of different factors. Yeah, you can say a lot of different factors played that part. But man, I'm gonna feel sorry for Oregon after we crush them. Clearly,
you gonna feel bad for you?
I mean, they going to start pretty much at 3 a.m. to their on their time. Getting up pretty roughly around 6:30.
They gonna be, they're gonna be fired up because I don't think we haven't played them since the Natty. Yeah, they mad about that.
That's a good point. But this ain't Dallas. This ain't AT&T Stadium. It's a different atmosphere walking to the shoe.
Yeah, you right about that.
These guys gonna be, and it's hopefully they leaning towards the fact of having full capacity at the shoe. So these guys can walk into a very hostile environment, not a 50-50 like it was in the national championship game, more like a 98-2. So we'll see. I'm excited for those guys, but leading into that game, man, we always talk about what players need to be ready. What coaches do you think has the biggest chips on their shoulder entering this 2021 season and pretty much having something to prove, not just to themselves, but to them players as you getting ready and to us as fans and to us as Buckeye Nation? What coaches are on your
off the bat? Off the bat is Coach Combs for sure. I mean, he was the defensive coordinator last year, and obviously, the defense didn't look like the silver bullets. They had moments where they could have been, but as an overall defense, it wasn't up to par. So, like, a lot of people were shunning Coach Combs, maybe this might be too much for him. Maybe he should only be a position coach or something like that. So I think for him, I'm pretty sure, even though Coach Combs is really good at ignoring noise, he knows what he got to do. And I think he's going to step up this year and try to get back to that top silver bullet defense because, he has to. And then another coach is Coach Johnson. Coach Johnson, he has all the intangibles that a coach needs to be a D coordinator and even be a head coach, So I think he just want to continue to build on that, I don't know, because I know he wanted to be probably a co-D coordinator. I don't know how that worked out. I'm pretty sure he still gives input because Coach Combs is a very open coach, but, it's different when you don't have the title. So I'm pretty sure he's going to coach his butt off to, show the world. And even if Ohio State isn't where he ends up, because he definitely deserves to be a head coach somewhere. The guy is one of the best in the business for sure, and he can definitely impact the team. I think one day he will be a head coach somewhere, and this is kind of him auditioning himself and getting himself ready to fit that role too.
Yeah, for sure. And then looking back at Coach Johnson's experience as the head coach last year when Coach Day dealt with some COVID issues, and then, he went up to Michigan State and put a whooping on them and dealing with so many guys out, but still was able to put together a great game plan and rally around, and lean on his coaching staff, at that point. And that was his guy. That was his team for that week as the head duck. He did an unbelievable job.
Yes, he did.
The first African-American head coach at, the Buckeyes, even though it was only for a week. But I think
I celebrated.
Yeah.
Celebrate that.
I definitely think his future is bright when it comes to, taking that next step in his coaching career. And he is one of the guys that I was going to mention as one of the coaches that I think that a little bit of pressure is on him because he walked into a situation on Ohio State. He always had great pass rushers, 1 or 2 great pass rushers on each team. And you haven't seen in the last, year and a half because of, the departure of Chase Young, NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. So now I think he has a real challenge on his hands to continue to develop that next guy.
For sure.
And we don't know who that is. When the last time we walked into an Ohio State season not knowing who's going to be that dominant pass rushing threat?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Even though going into that season last year, we thought, Jonathan Cooper at times showed some promise and got off the ball and got created some pressure, but it wasn't just that used to me.
He had a productive group, but it wasn't, that game changing group that has always been. Like, you know,
that
they
game changing
game changer player, I should say.
Exactly. But my coach, who is on my personal, not necessarily hot seat, who I'm keeping my eye on, is I'm gonna switch sides of the ball a little bit, but I'm going with Brian Hartline. I mean, a guy that played Ohio State, a guy that played in the league, a guy that keep getting these top recruits. I remember when they first hired him, and Mike, his brother, was a quarterback GA with us.
Yeah,
and Brian was just finishing up his Brian was just finishing up his NFL career and didn't know he wanted to get into coaching, and he was doing a few things before he had the opportunity to coach under Zach Smith at Ohio State as a receiver, pretty much intern, and before he got his opportunity when the program decided to depart from Zach Smith. And I remember how many critics that he had because he wasn't a guy that was a proven guy when it came to the coaching aspect. But one thing you can't coach, one thing you can't teach is experience. And he had that plan, not just at the highest level of college, but also the highest level in football, period.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, that always don't pan out to make a great coach. He's a hell of a recruiter. He's a great coach. You see some of these guys, he's getting in. I mean, the last 4 years.
He's getting a 5-star every year, dude. The top dude.
The last 3 or 4 years, he had the number one receiver in each class. And he's creating a lot of opportunities, creating a lot of competition in that group and in that room. And I just want to say, I wonder what the heck he's telling these kids and telling these guys to get these guys to come in at Ohio State when they already had the number one receiver for the last 3 years on top of guys that's performing at an extremely high level. So he's creating a lot of competition in that room. And I want to see how he can sustain that. I want to see how he's going to take those guys' game to the next level and get those guys to buy into, okay, hey, yeah, you're the number one guy in high school. Walking into here, you walking into a situation where the year before this guy was the one guy in high school. On top of, hey, guess what? We got 2 guys this year going to be probably number 1, number 2 receivers in the country this year. Yeah. So how are you going to get those guys to buy into the Ohio State ways, to the Brian Hartline culture that he developed in that receiver room? And I'm excited to see it, man. So he's kind of on my, like I said before, I don't want to call it hot seat, but I got to know what he's selling these guys. They're definitely buying.
Listen, the man got the wide receiver position, the top tier for the next 4 or 5, actually longer than that. That man. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing, but whatever he's doing is working. So
yeah, he's doing this thing, and he's another guy that I can see after this year, depending on the success of the team, that his name's going to get thrown out there as a potential coordinator one day.
Yeah, OC for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how much input he have on the offense right now thus far at the Buckeyes, but you can tell that he's going to be the next guy, young and up and coming coach. You think of like you see these what was my guy name? That had Joe Burrow in LSU. Now he's in the NFL.
Joe Brady?
Brady. Yeah, Joe Brady, that, he just proven himself at a young age. You can tell he's coaching above his, way past his age, after his experience. So I think Hartline will be that next guy that, we hear from in the next year or so that's going to be like, oh, my God, he just took an unbelievable jump in his coaching career.
And, that's definitely becoming a new trend. Is especially with the NFL. The coaches is getting younger. It's like a lot of young guys who's in their 30s that's becoming head coaches, and they're actually doing really well. So definitely for sure it definitely could happen. I'm sure everything that happens in the NFL tends to trickle down to college. So
yeah, and then you start to see when you have these younger coaches, and especially in college. I look at it as this. I have a young coach that's still can get out there and show me what.
That you respect that 1,000.
Yeah.
That right there sells a lot.
Oh, for sure. Like I said before, and a guy like Hartline is proven on the highest level of football. On top of a guy like, you can't substitute experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to get up on the board and show X's and O's, but when he can go out there and really, like I said before, show it, what he mean and how it should look, still at in his mid-30s. Then I'm pretty sure that's enticing to any recruit that he going to sit in these kids' living rooms and dining rooms and selling the dream of Ohio State. So kudos to him.
It ain't that hard to sell that dream. I'll tell you that right now. It's Ohio State. At the end of the day, you're gonna be in the championship talk every year. I mean, it's just you could be that guy that we need that helps us hold that trophy up at the end. I mean, it's really not that hard of a sales pitch.
Yeah, for sure. But moving on from the coaches, man, I think, with us as the Buckeyes and as fans, that's looking back on that 2020 season and being so close, but still so far away from hosting that trophy again. And from coaches to pretty much back to the players, what's position group do you think, in your personal opinion, has the most to prove / who has to step up the most when it comes to carrying his team? Because we lost so much into the NFL draft, we lost our whole backfield with Trey Sermon and Justin Fields. And so it's going to be a lot of pressure on the quarterback and the running back to pretty much try to pick up some of that production that those guys were so much responsible for. Yeah. Which group is going to pretty much ease that pain and make it easier for them to walk into the starting role? And it don't have to just be on offense. Who's going to ease that? I know when I stepped there, trust and believe, the defense eased a lot of pain for me. I ain't got to do nothing. It can be guys on the other side of the ball. It can be a position group on the other side of the ball. So
let's see, the position group that eases a lot of the pain. Well, I mean, obviously,
that's going to this upcoming year for this team.
I mean, I know that the receivers is going to I know that's we're going to lean on them because that's right now. That's kind of like our strongest group is our receivers, but the team that can totally carry this team would have to be the D line. I mean, if the D line if Coach Johnson get the D line to play if he can find that gem, that one guy, and bring that greatness out, like that game changing guy, like it makes the whole game. Because you think about it, that guy's going to he's going to put a lot of pressure on quarterbacks to force bad passes, which then helps the secondary look really good because all they got to do is play tight defense for a couple of seconds. If you back their cause of havoc, that stops the run game. We got to run away from you. Now our defense is playing to, we're going to put our star defense in on this side, our D tackle on this side, and force them to run to this side. We're going to put everybody over there, knowing that they're going to run to that side. Boom, we're going to crash the run. As far as the offense goes, I mean, if he's making plays like that, he's going to force some strip sacks. He's going to get the ball. He's going to force interceptions. So now the offense is going to get more plays with the ball, and it's going to help people like whoever the starting quarterback may be out because he's going to have the ball in his hands. Is going to allow him to get more comfortable. So I think always a D end, D tackle, whatever, somebody on the D line always can carry a team. Okay. Personal opinion, Tyvis, Powell. And I ain't even being biased because I should say if they got a Tyvis Powell on their team, it would easy, but I ain't even going to even go there.
No, I definitely see where I'm picking up what you put down. I mean, I like the fact that you picked the defensive line, but I'm going to have to go with the receivers on this aspect because you got the most guys returning, the most experience returning on the team is in that group, is in that room. So, and then also
that's the obvious answer. It's the obvious answer.
It's the obvious answer, but you look at the track record and you look at a guy like when Dwayne Haskins took over for JT Barrett. You look at the situation Dwayne walked into. He walked into a lot of 4th and 5th year senior receivers and a younger guy, KJ Hill, who ended up setting the record for the Ohio State in most receptions in his career.
Shout out to you, KJ.
Yeah, it was almost like just put the ball in these guys' area. Outside of clearly Dwayne had all the tools to be a great quarterback and he threw for 50 plus touchdowns that year. But he walked into a situation where I don't want to say it was hard to fail, but he walked into a situation where he didn't have to be the guy. Yeah, we was looking for the guy as a quarterback, but he didn't have to be the guy. He didn't have to be that unbelievable Dwayne Haskins that we saw that was throwing for 350, 400 plus yards a game. And like I said before, over 50 plus touchdowns. Oh, wait, these guys doubling on my guys. Guess what? J.K. Dobbins, take it down the field. Yeah. So these guys will be walking into a position where the receivers will take a lot of this, I need to be spectacular from off the shoulders of that quarterback or whoever the running back is going to be.
Sure.
But I do get where you're coming from when you said the defensive line. It's hard to pick one guy. Clearly, the guy that everyone is going to keep the eye on this year is Haskell Garrett. And but man, from an interior aspect, man, it's hard. I mean, to be a dominant. I don't remember too many inside interior defensive lineman on the college level being that guy, being so dominant. You're like, we got it down for this. I was about to say that.
Dominic Sue was that. He was that deal.
Other than Sue years back before we were even in college, man. But That's the only guy I can think of as far as the interior line.
Yeah, it is. That's what I say. But if Haskell can pull that off, like it would, man.
I'm not gonna say he needs to be the
I ain't saying that.
Yeah. But
if he can make, I put it to you this way: if he can make one big game changer play a game, like just getting the quarterback's face to force a bad pass or strip something like that changes. That'll flip a whole season. Like all we need is do it one time.
Oh, for sure, man. Because that's one extra possession that their offense don't get to get, and
exactly.
So and that can always be huge. But man,
I appreciate you seeing what I see.
For sure.
One day, man, I'm gonna throw my cleats up on the wire and pick up my coaching shoes. I'm gonna wear some. I'm gonna wear them Air Monarchs. That's when you officially old and retired.
That day you step into the coaching world, trust me, gonna be your biggest critic. You should have ran blitz. What you doing? So looking forward to that. But man, well, thanks for joining us another week of Roommates, another episode of Roommates with myself, Cardale Jones, and Tyvis Powell. Until next time, we catch you guys later.